The Order of Time, by Italian physicist Carlo Rovelli, is a book on the philosophy and physics of time. In this book, Carlo Rovelli tries to explain the nature and meaning of time, and to explore the relationship between time and space, so that we can understand the truth about time more deeply. First of all, Carlo Rovelli points out that time is a subjective concept, which is created by human beings and does not exist in nature itself. He argues that time is a relative concept that depends on the observer's position, velocity, and gravitational field. This means that time is not an absolute concept, but a concept that depends on the situation of the observer. An interesting philosophical question is, does time have directionality? Carlo Rovelli points out that the arrow of time is a very important concept, which states that the flow of time is irreversible from the past to the future. However, in physics, the fundamental equations of time are symmetrical and do not distinguish between the past and the future. Therefore, the question of whether time has a direction is a puzzling one. In the book, Carlo Rovelli also explores the relationship between time and entropy. He argues that the flow of time is associated with an increase in entropy. Entropy is a physical quantity used to describe the degree of chaos or disorder in a system. When the entropy of a system increases, its degree of disorder also increases, which means that time is flowing. This view is very interesting and it gives us a deeper understanding of the relationship between time and physics. In addition, in the book, Carlo Rovelli explores the understanding of time in quantum mechanics and general relativity theory. He points out that both quantum mechanics and general relativity challenge time, which allows us to think more deeply about the nature of time. In his book, Carlo Rovelli states that time is an irreversible process, which means that it only flows forward, not backward. This view is consistent with our daily experience. However, there are certain phenomena in quantum mechanics that seem to indicate that time may be reversible. This phenomenon is called time symmetry breaking, and it challenges our understanding of time. Time symmetry breaking refers to certain physical processes in which the flow of time does not seem to be symmetric. That is, in these processes, time may only flow forward and not backward. The following are some examples. 1. CP disruption in quantum mechanics. CP disruption refers to the fact that in some particle decay processes, the decay rates of particles and antiparticles are different. This means that the flow of time in these processes is asymmetric. 2. Irreversible processes in thermodynamics. Irreversible processes in thermodynamics, such as heat conduction, diffusion, and viscous lag flow, are time symmetry breaking phenomena. In these processes, heat, matter, or energy flows in one direction only and does not flow backwards. 3. The arrow of time in cosmology. The arrow of time in cosmology means that the universe evolves only in the forward direction, not backward. This means that the evolution of the universe is time symmetry broken. 4. CP breaking in physics. In addition to CP breaking in quantum mechanics, there are other forms of CP breaking in physics, such as CP breaking in weak interactions. 5. Molecular directionality in biology. Many molecules in biology have directionality, such as DNA and proteins. These molecules will only react in a specific direction and will not flow backwards. This is one of the phenomena where time symmetry breaks down. 6. Entropy increase in statistical mechanics. Entropy increase is an important concept in statistical mechanics, which describes the degree of disorder or chaos in a system. When the entropy of a system increases, the direction of its time flow is determined, which is also a phenomenon of time symmetry breaking. These examples show that the flow of time is not necessarily symmetric and may appear asymmetric. Time symmetry breaking is a very interesting phenomenon that challenges our understanding of time and is an important area of research in the fields of physics, biology, and statistics. It challenges our understanding of time and is an important topic of discussion in the book The Order of Time. In addition to time symmetry breaking, Carlo Rovelli also explores interesting topics such as time paradoxes and time travel in The Order of Time. Time paradoxes are contradictory phenomena that arise from seemingly rational situations, such as the famous Omnilus paradox. The Omnilus paradox refers to a man who goes back in time and kills his grandfathers so that he cannot exist, so how can he go back to the future? This paradox challenges our understanding of time travel and is an important issue in the philosophy of time. The idea of time travel, in which people move through time, is often mentioned in science fiction and movies. However, the concept of time travel involves some physical problems, such as time paradox, time arrows, and time symmetry breaking. In his book, Carlo Rovelli provides an in-depth exploration of time travel and raises some interesting points. In addition, Carlo Rovelli introduces the concept of time lattice. A time lattice is the spatial distribution of time in the universe, which is formed by the matter in the universe. The time lattice is a very interesting concept, which combines time and space and proposes a new way of understanding time. In addition to the above ideas and concepts, Carlo Rovelli also raises some philosophical questions about time in his book The Order of Time. One of the most fundamental questions is what is time? Carlo Rovelli points out that time is something that is very difficult to describe and understand. He explores different concepts and definitions of time, including the Newtonian view of space-time, the relativistic view of space-time, quantum mechanics, and other different views of time. He also explores philosophical issues such as the nature of time and the way time exists. Another important philosophical issue is the reality of time. Carlo Rovelli believes that time is real, not only as a product of human perception and awareness, but also as an inherent feature of the universe itself. He explains the reality of time by exploring its relationship with space and matter. Carlo Rovelli also explores philosophical issues such as the relationship between time and human free will, and the relationship between time and death. His profound and insightful views not only shed light on the philosophical issue of time, but also offer profound reflections on the existence and meaning of human beings. In addition to the above, Carlo Rovelli introduces some historical and cultural aspects of time in his book The Order of Time. He introduces different understandings and descriptions of time in different cultures. For example, in Western cultures time is seen as a linear, irreversible movement, while in Indian cultures time is seen as a cyclical, repeatable movement. He also introduces different religious understandings and descriptions of time, such as apocalypticism in Christianity and reincarnation in Buddhism. In addition, Carlo Rovelli introduces the history of time, from the observation of the sun and moon in ancient civilizations to atomic clocks and satellite positioning in modern science. He also introduces the history and development of different time standards and time units, such as Greenwich Mean Time and Atomic Time. One of the most important applications is the Global Positioning System, GPS. Carlo Rovelli explained how GPS uses the principles of atomic clocks and phase theory for precise time and space positioning. He introduced the history of GPS, its operating principles and applications, and pointed out that GPS has had a profound impact on many areas of modern society, including aviation, maritime transportation, and scientific research. In addition, Carlo Rovelli introduced other time-related technologies and applications, such as high-speed computing, superconducting magnets, and laser technology. He explains how these technologies and applications use the precision and stability of time to achieve high-precision measurement and control. Carlo Rovelli also explores some interesting time phenomena and paradoxes in his book The Order of Time. One of the most famous paradoxes is the Stanford Prison Experiment. This experiment was designed to study the effects of time on human behavior and psychology. The experimenters divided a group of volunteers into two groups, prison guards and prisoners, and set up a simulated prison environment. But soon, the experiment got out of hand and the guards became extremely cruel and abusive to the prisoners. Carlo Rowe uses this experiment to explore the effects of time and power on human behavior and psychology, and makes some interesting points. Another interesting time phenomenon is time travel. Carlo Rovelli explores the physics and philosophy of time travel, such as whether time travel is possible, whether time travel changes history, and whether time travel creates paradoxes. He also introduces some famous time travel novels and movies, such as Time Adventure and Back to the Future. In addition to the above, Carlo Rovelli also presents some interesting ideas and opinions in his book The Order of Time. One of the most important ideas is that time is the fourth dimension of the universe. Carlo Rovelli points out that time, like space, is one of the fundamental structures of the universe and can be described mathematically. He proposed the concept of space-time, which combines time and space into a four-dimensional space-time structure. This idea has not only had a profound impact on modern physics, but has also inspired many science fiction novels and movies. Another interesting point is that time is the only real currency. Carlo Rovelli pointed out that people can earn money and wealth through hard work, but time is not renewable, and everyone's time is limited. Therefore, time is people's most valuable resource and the only real currency. He introduced the concept of time management and pointed out that people should learn how to use their time effectively to achieve their goals and dreams. In addition, Carlo Rovelli also put forward some other interesting ideas and opinions, such as time is a mysterious force that is both our enemy and our friend, and time is something that can never be fully understood, but we can gradually approach the nature of the truth of time through continuous exploration and discovery. Another important philosophical question is the existence of time subjective or objective? Carlo Rovelli points out that in physics, time is an objective existence that can be determined through measurement and observation. In philosophy, however, the existence of time is a subjective matter, because the perception and experience of time varies from person to person. He introduced the concept of time perception, pointing out that the perception and experience of time varies from person to person and is influenced by many factors, such as age, environment, culture, etc. In his book The Order of Time, Carlo Rovelli also explores time perception, time psychology, and other psychological issues related to time. Time perception refers to people's perception and awareness of time. Carlo Rovelli mentions how people's perception of time is influenced by cultural, social, and environmental factors. He also presents experiments and studies that examine people's perceptions and errors about the length and sequence of time. Time psychology is the study of people's mental processes and behaviors toward time. In his book, Carlo Rovelli mentions some psychological issues related to time, such as changes in time perception and time management strategies. He also explores the effects of time on people's emotions and well-being, and the role that time plays in people's lives. In addition, Carlo Rovelli discusses the relationship between time and the universe, the origin and evolution of time, and how time affects the evolution of the universe. He also explores the meaning of time in literature, philosophy, and art, and points out the important role that time plays in these fields. In addition, Carlo Rovelli explores other interesting philosophical questions and reflections, such as the free will of time, the meaning and value of time, and the existence and infinity of time. One of the most important cultural manifestations is the differences in the concept of time across cultures. Carlo Rovelli points out that the concepts and values of time vary greatly from culture to culture. For example, Western cultures emphasize the efficiency and compactness of time, while Eastern cultures focus more on the flexibility and circularity of time. He introduces the differences in the concept of time in different cultures and explores the implications and meaning of these differences. Another interesting cultural manifestation is the artistic expression of time. Carlo Rovelli pointed out that time is a very important theme in art, and many artists express their understanding and perception of time through their works. He introduced some representative works of time art, such as Andy Warhol's Time Capsule and Salvador Dali's The Permanence of Memory, and explored the meanings and values expressed by these works. In addition, Carlo Rovelli introduces some other interesting cultural expressions, such as the musical expression of time and the literary expression of time. In the book, Carlo Rovelli also explores the relationship between time and human beings. He argues that time is one of the key factors in our understanding of the world, allowing us to perceive its changes and evolutions. He also emphasizes the transience of time, pointing out that each of our lives is short, but that this transience is also one of the ways in which we perceive time. All in all, The Order of Time is a book that not only explores the physics, biology, psychology, and philosophy of time, but also introduces the historical and cultural aspects of time, as well as practical applications and techniques related to time, and presents some interesting ideas and observations. Easy to understand and insightful, this book is not only enlightening for professionals, but also highly enlightening and interesting for the general reader. If you are interested in time and the universe, I highly recommend reading this book.